This is my 95 Jeep Wrangler. I was driving it last week. I noticed an absolutely horrible squealing sound that I thought was belt squeak. So I put a new belt on. I was checking pulleys with WD-40. I took the belt off again, checked all the pulleys by hand. They were all good. Checked coolant to make sure my water pump wasn't running dry. And everything checked out. And I'm going, what in the world is this squealing noise? Well, I learned a little trick. If you have a noise like that, what you can do is put your hand where you think the noise is coming from. Then put your ear towards your hand. When you move your hand away, the sound pitch should change, and that's how I determined that it was my exhaust manifold gasket. So I'm going to show you what it sounded like before I replaced that gasket. As you can tell, that didn't sound good at all. Like I said, I later determined it was my exhaust manifold gasket with the ear trick. So then to take it out, I removed this vacuum line, removed the air box, removed this hose right here. Basically, this air box removes with 3 clips, one there, one right there. And then it just pulls out, but you gotta undo this clamp on top of the throttle body, undo that, unbolt your throttle body, unhook the cables from your throttle body, unhook that connector, this connector, and then there's a line you'll have to disconnect this from your intake manifold. Disconnect that plug, and that plug. Those are your fuel injector plugs. Disconnect this plug right here. And then after that, undo your throttle cable bracket, and then undo these lines right here. Just push in with a screwdriver and wiggle, and these fuel lines should pop out. After, of course, you drain your fuel pressure by pushing in on this valve here. And you can see some fuel just came out. And that's so fuel don't squirt everywhere when you take these lines off. But then unbolt your exhaust manifold gasket. You may have to use PB Blaster. I didn't. Don't know how. Probably the rough roads around where I live. Anyway, I took all the bolts out, dropped the exhaust manifold down, brought the intake manifold up, put the new gasket in, bolted up the exhaust manifold, then the intake manifold, made sure it was flush with the gasket, made sure everything lined up. Then I torqued everything to 30 foot-pounds, which was the lowest setting my torque wrench would go, because it recommended 23 to 35 foot-pounds of torque on these bolts. So I torqued it all down using a crisscross pattern, connected all the plugs, bolted up the throttle cable, put the throttle body back on, and then I put the intake box back on, and this is what it sounds like now. And as you can see, like I said, much better. But I'll show you what the old exhaust manifold gasket looked like and what the new one looks like. So yeah, I was definitely due for an exhaust manifold gasket, and I wasted like 40 bucks on this belt here, but it was probably getting due for a new belt anyway. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Hope it helped. Hope it fixed your god-awful squealing sound in your Jeep.